The Republican Party, specifically the Trump administration, is not just sitting back and waiting to see if the SAVE Act gets passed. They are putting out a full court press to take on election integrity in the states and make sure the midterms are secure, even if the Senate does not do its job. And here's the most recent is that the RNC has launched over 160 election lawsuits in 36 states ahead of the midterms, most in GOP history. If we have the Save America Act, most of the cheating would be DOA. Get to work, GOP, Thune, time's running out. It's true, but this is a good thing. You know, leading into the 24 election, the RNC launched many lawsuits ahead of the fact, while also sending out over 1,000 lawyers to different states to monitor the elections. This helped slow down the Democrats cheating, and they're doing it again and at a greater force. But here's a little breakdown.
Never before.
That's Trump.
America is back, and we want to keep America great, and we will do so by approving the Save America Act, which means all voters must show voter ID. All voters.
I mean, the Save America Act, extremely popular. We need it to get done. But in the meantime, get these lawsuits going and keep the pressure on. Harmeet Dillon at the DOJ Civil Rights Division is surging election monitors to polling locations in Detroit for the upcoming 26 elections. It's not only going to be Detroit, though. It'll be all over. Lansing, East Lansing will also see election monitors for the coming primary per Detroit News. The Democratic Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson and State AG are furious. Of course they are. They don't want to be watched. They don't want stuff being seen in real time, because these are crimes. They do commit crimes, and you can send them to jail. This has already been happening. We're seeing it with the protesters, say the Antifa people, going to jail for 100 years. This is happening more and more. The Trump administration is bringing justice, which by bringing justice, you put the fear of God into the people who would help the cheating. Because before, when you could get away with it, no big deal, right? Yeah, we'll help you cheat. Now, if there's consequences, fewer people are likely to help. And you could tell the pressure's getting into him as Gavin Newsom, James Woods says, he's scared. Gavin Newsom just announced, anyone considering helping Trump interfere with our election or our count will be prosecuted. The only problem there, Gavi, is that federal law trumps state law. Yeah, that's going to be a problem for you. If your elections have anything federal in them at all, good luck. The federal government has jurisdiction. He says that's why I'm moving forward new legislation and make it a felony to seize ballots before the vote's been certified by state and county officials. Really? They give themselves a month to count. A month. Not even joking. The California election has still not been certified. And they're saying he wants new legislation to make it illegal during that time period to come look at the ballots and make sure they're legit. Yeah, that's panic right there, folks. They want to certify these elections and make sure that, because once they're certified, it becomes much, much tougher to undo the results. That's what he wants, and this is what they're going to play. They're going to play these games. But the good news is this will keep going up and to court after court, and most likely will die in appeals courts as the circuit courts have become much more conservative. But we'll see how it plays out. Now, while all this going on, the thing in the Republican Party is that Mitch McConnell is still bye-bye. Cardiac arrest event, and now the weird thing is his wife flew to China to meet with Vice President Han Zheng. What? That's odd. Why would his wife go? Well, I think we're just getting more and more exposure to the establishment wing of the Republicans and how they're being controlled as well. The good news is that McConnell's about to go bye-bye forever. He can't run again. He's probably dead or brain dead. And we don't have to worry about his influence anymore. However, the question is why is she going and meeting with her handlers? Get in a couple last votes, figure out how to move that fortune around. I don't know. It's very interesting. The special election, see, they're holding it off because they don't want Kentucky to hold the special election that would bring in McConnell's successor earlier and give them a MAGA vote, which, by the way, McConnell is one of the only holdouts on the Save America Act. They replace him with the guy who ultimately will replace him in the special election. Now you got another vote for Save America and another push to keep that going. One less person they can control. So very interesting how this is all playing out. Now, Laura Loomer just posted that a high-level source close to the White House says McConnell is officially brain dead and not coming back. Again, we don't know if Loomer is telling the truth or not. She's right a lot, but she's been wrong before, and especially when it's stuff she really cares about, and sometimes her emotions get in the way. But here's John Thune just 3 weeks ago.
Senator McConnell, we're told, was hospitalized. Have you heard any word on him?
I have. I spoke to him yesterday, and he was in good spirits. I mean, he was paying very dialed in, paying attention to what's going on, and indicated that he would be back soon.
Why the fuck you lying?
So Thune is keeping the game afoot. He needs that McConnell vote. Thune is completely controlled by the establishment wing. And it's going to be fun to see how this all plays out, because eventually you can't hide it forever. You can only do it for a little while. Now, we've seen them with, like, say, Dianne Feinstein for the Democrats, how they kept wheeling her corpse around for almost a year. That poor woman, barely alive, couldn't do votes, but keep showing up. I mean, it's insane. So how long will they keep this going? Well, as long as they can, because they don't want that seat replaced. It's already going to be replaced in November and resat in January with the new guy, but they want to hold it off for a few months if they can, because deep down they want to lose the midterms. They want to lose the House and Senate. If they lose the House and Senate, suddenly they have an excuse to not get anything done. That's what Thune is betting on. That's what he's betting on, because if he can hold McConnell in and keep stalling everything until the new Congress comes in that is Democrat, well, then he's done his job of not allowing Trump to get his legislation through. But we'll see how that happens. Regardless, it's a bad look, and it's just more exposure for the establishment, which will energize more of MAGA going forward. So that's good for us. What also energizes MAGA while also crushing Democrats is the candidates the Democrats have up. We've already talked about Plattner in another segment with his disgusting past and how the Democrats are fleeing from him. Well, Tallarico, it just keeps getting worse for Tallarico as well. Down in Tejas, they keep thinking they're going to take over the Texas seat, turn it blue for the first time in 30 years. Well, it's not going to go well for them when your candidate is gay, when he's a vegetarian in Texas, when he says he loves trans kids. Yeah, you put all that together, it's not a winning combination. And more keeps coming out as he says, Texas is home to the best drag queens in the nation. This is from an MSN article. Senate hopeful says Texas home to the best drag queens in the nation. We have Tallarico on the defensive after remarks resurfaced in which he lavished praise on Texas drag queens. Tallarico, Democrats nominee in Texas' hotly contested Senate race, is not that hotly contested. Paxton is pretty solidly ahead. Made the comment May 23 while criticizing a bill in the state legislature banning sexually oriented performances on public property and in the presence of minor, a measure of likely restricted drag shows. He voted present on the legislation at the urging of the Texas House LGBTQ caucus. Why was he in that caucus unless he's gay? Oh, that's weird. He says he has a girlfriend. After language, which he met in a gay bar, by the way. You can't make this stuff up. After language explicitly referencing drag performers stripped from an earlier version, arguing a revised bill would better protect their performances. I think Texas is obviously the best state in the nation. I think we produce some of the best drag queens in the nation. I don't want legislation to target them or hurt that industry. You cannot make this stuff up. How retarded is the Democratic Party thinking this guy could be their Texas man? I just unbelievable. I don't know about you guys, but I lived in Texas for 9 years. Texas Democrats, they're not the breed that likes guys like this. They'll vote Democrat and they hate Republicans, but they'll do so holding their breath. But I'll tell you what, the moderates, the independents, they won't go near this guy. He has no chance of winning as this keeps coming out. Absolutely hilarious. I love it. And then while all that's going on, the commie takeover is getting more and more embarrassing for them, as just last week, Mom Donnie told New Yorkers, hey, don't turn your ACs down. Keep them at 78. We're going to control your heat. Yeah, but don't worry about Taylor Swift getting married in Madison Square Garden where the AC is probably nice and cold. The rest of you, though, you peasants, you guys got to stay hot because we can't afford it. But while they can't afford that, they just recommended an 18% pay increase for city leaders from Mom Donnie's advisory commission. Got to pay them more, huh? Let's get Mom Donnie up to $305,000. Public advocate, $218,000. Comptroller, $247,000. Borough presidents, $212,000. Who says being a government doesn't pay, huh, guys? The problem is that the commies, they are doing what they always do, and this is a bad look for them. You know, communists, what they absolutely love to do, they say they're for the people. They get in on the backs of the working man. They lie to your face. And what do they always do? Well, they always enrich themselves while destroying and enslaving you. That's what they do. This is insane. 20%. I mean, it's 18, but we'll just call it 20. We'll round up. We'll do some Democrat math there. 20% increase in salary for the struggling New York budget. Which, by the way, this mayor of New York at $300,000, that's making 75% what the president of the United States makes. How insane is this government, man? What a joke. This should be plastered on every billboard in New York. It will wake up a lot of people. Unfortunately, Democrats don't pay attention to this stuff. Now, Trump, thankfully, is still pushing the communist talking points to make sure we know who the enemy is to turn out voters, as he had a speech yesterday at a luncheon and had this to say about commies.
Liberal, or as they say now, progressive. Liberal became so tarnished, but now it's communist. You know, they say social democrats. No, social democrat is a communist, all right, just so you know. There's no, so if you look at the people that are running, it's crazy what they're doing. But we'll never let that happen to this country. It can't happen to the country. You can't, there's no appetite for it, especially since we've literally, now you're going to see numbers coming out over the next 6 months, I think, that nobody will have ever seen before. But she's a fantastic liberal. Or
Trump telling us what's coming. The commies can't take over, but I love this. Again, it's just like I said yesterday. If you have an enemy, it's one thing when you talk to regular Americans and they're like, Democrats, Republicans, they're ultimately all the same. Just do a little bit here. That's one thing. And most people don't wake up. Most people don't break out past that point. That's their basic knowledge of politics, and they don't want to go deeper. That's their right. It's embarrassing, honestly, because this is the kind of thing that runs our country. But hey, if you don't care about how our country's run, you have a right to do so. This is America. However, when you bring up to those same people, hey, do you know that there are communists running for office right now? That's completely different. The word communist is still a bad word in our lexicon, and Trump pushing this and them rising is a very good thing. Now, Trump also said, look for numbers coming ahead, and he knows what's coming. He sees the real data. As Trueflation says, you know, for those who are like, the economy's not getting better. No, it is. I know it hasn't maybe reached your pocketbook yet, but it is trending in the right direction, which means it's only a matter of time till things improve overall. But Trueflation, as of right now, has inflation under 2%, 1.79% year over year, well below the headline numbers many still quoting. And this is coming on the back of the announcement yesterday that Walmart is now going to cut beef prices by nearly 15%. Why is that a big deal? Well, Walmart's only the number one retailer in America. It's only the number one grocery store in America. If Walmart is cutting beef prices by 15%, that tells you something. They're not just doing this for PR. They're doing it because A, the price of beef overall must be plummeting, which is a very good thing. And B, this is going to cause a ripple effect. Walmart's doing this because it knows it's good for their profits and it's good for their publicity. This will cause a ripple effect of competition where other retailers now and grocery stores are going to be forced to lower their prices to match what's coming in. It's the same as in Pennsylvania where the gas stations are coming out, the gas companies are coming out and saying they're lowering their prices faster than everyone else as oil's plummeting. It ends the gouging because if Walmart now, instead of coming in 2% cheaper than another grocery store, is now 20% cheaper, everybody's going to go to Walmart because you're going to save money. You got to save money. I mean, especially in this economy, 15% is a big deal. And beef has been one of the most stubborn prices staying up. This is a sign that much more is coming. This is going to start falling everywhere. It's a big deal when the biggest places in the nation, the biggest retailers in the nation, richest places in the nation make these news. Okay. So stuff's happening. The economy's turning around and it's coming around while the Democratic Party's in civil war. As Seth Keshel writes, the path to a Dem Senate majority requires them to win Maine. This is why they're so quick now to all be turning on Plattner as soon as it's becoming more and more obvious the guy's a total scumbag. Based on how this week started, the market's even polling. That has never been more unlikely. They can win North Carolina and hold Georgia, Michigan, New Hampshire, and still be down 52-48. They would have to win 2 of Alaska, Iowa, Texas, and Ohio to save them. You know what the odds are of that happening? Very, very low, like 3%. So I continue to say the odds of them winning the Senate, of the Republicans holding the Senate, is about 95%. That's very good news. The House, let's say 60% Republicans right now. It's looking better by the day. But then we get to, we get through this year, hold on to the midterms, and the future just looks better and better, especially because this is who the Democrats have. You think their Senate candidates are bad. It gets crazier with the House candidates, but they still don't have anybody good to run for president. And we know this because currently Kamala Harris is still their number one choice. Dear God, please let it happen. You know how much fun it'd be to run against Harris again? This would be her 3rd time running for president. The first time she didn't even get 1% in the primary. Second time she was gifted the nomination and almost pushed through by the election rigging and the anti-Trump rush, except for then Trump won every swing state and swept in the House and Senate. That worked out real well for them. And yet they're gearing up to give her a 4th term. That's incredible stuff. And I'll tell you right now, Newsom, he's plummeting already at only 15%. So losing 2% for 15 is a plummet. But also the investigations into him are just ramping up. You have AOC, who once she's on the big stage, she's way too dumb to get any push. Buttigieg is not the worst candidate when it comes to debates and looks and everything. But the problem is I'll just go ahead and say it. Black people don't vote for gay people. It's just a fact. Buttigieg polled amongst black people gets 0%. You want to give the Republicans a new record of black votes? You run Buttigieg. So he has no shot. Shapiro's a Jew. We all know how they think about Jews now. And Mark Kelly at 5%. Well, Mark Kelly, not only is he a total loser, he was just in Mexico wearing a Mexican jersey at the World Cup game. Yeah, that's going to play out real well for people. So this is the Democrats' bench, folks. Does anybody feel that fear striking your heart right now? Meanwhile, with the Republicans, we have Vance, who, if he wants it, it's his. I'll just say it right now. Rubio, very strong. Trump Jr. will never run. DeSantis would be very strong if he could coalesce MAGA. If Trump endorsed him, he would run very very strongly. And RFK Jr., he's just not going to run. I just don't see that happening. So, but you take 3 out of these 4 right here because Trump Jr. is just not going to run. And guys, do you really think any of these morons could beat Vance, Rubio, or DeSantis with Republicans in control, monitoring the elections, keeping the rigging down, with or without the SAVE Act, maybe even the SAVE Act passed by that point? Do you really think they have any? People often come at me and be like, it's so rigged, man. They'll just rig it. They'll win again. Yeah, that's what they tried in 2020 or 2024. They were in control. They had the Senate and the presidency. They had full control of the elections, and they got whooped. You really think after 4 years of Trump, they'll be able to rig more? I don't think so. As Kevin McAllister would say, I don't think so. This ain't happening, folks. You understand that? And for everybody terrified that they'll take the House, I get it. I don't want them to take the House. That would be sucky. But here's the thing. They take the House, they're not going to have the Senate, so they can't pass any laws. They can impeach Trump, but they can't convict him because that happens in the Senate. They still won't control the judicial system. That's Trump controls that. They still won't control foreign policy. Trump controls that, or the military. So how are they going to change the law and control things enough to rig 28 if they only have the House? It's not going to happen. So I'm trying to tell you guys, like, looking ahead, nothing is guaranteed. I'd never say that. That would be stupid. We have to show up and do our job. But if we all show up and do our job, 2028 should be an easy win. Because the other thing is when you have candidates this strong running against candidates that weak, it will rise the tide. We'll take the House, we'll take the Senate, and then we're in charge for the 2030 census. And it gets really ugly for Democrats after that. So, no dooming allowed, folks. It's not going to happen. No dooming allowed. This is a no black pill channel. Because the future, whether we win the House or not, it's better if we do. But whether we win the House or not, it's very bright. It's very bright. And based on everything we're seeing, their odds of winning the midterms are getting lower and lower and lower. And so, take that white pill, guys. We got a long, beautiful road ahead of us if we don't give up.